Good afternoon, fellow space professionals. My name is Timothy Fukuyama, and this is my assessment of the market attractiveness of ORCA, or Orbital Rendezvous and Centrifugal Assist for Module 4.3. In researching for this particular module, I struggled to find relatable projects that directly fit the niche market and novel concept employed by ORCA for comparison. I wouldn't say that I have a high degree of confidence in my determination of market attractiveness at this time, but let's go through my process nonetheless. To begin evaluating the total addressable market, I decided to initially focus on the first part of ORCA, which is getting the customer's payload to low Earth orbit via a third-party launch provider. Since ORCA's initial R&D and customer base will be centered around small payloads, I first looked at the prospects for new small launch vehicles and companies. Though this particular chart is dated due to the estimated inaugural launch windows, it still shows the interest in developing new launch vehicles globally. Increased availability from multiple launch providers means that customers won't have to struggle to find a vehicle that works for them. This is even further expanded by the global distribution of launch site options. More companies also means there is a potential for ORCA to forge strong business relationships and possibly create package launch centrifugal assist deals for customers. These two charts show the competitive nature of the small launch market and how the increased number of entrants are driving down costs and increasing launch frequency. The latter is a positive note for ORCA, as anytime the orbiting stations are not being actively fed payloads to Slingshot, profitability goes down. High launch frequencies can ensure that the lag time between payloads is minimized. As discussed previously, the initial funding sources and customers for ORCA will likely be government and educational institution research projects. ORCA will offer those entities a more cost-effective way to get their payloads into deep space, and similarly will allow those same entities to proliferate a higher number of probes throughout the solar system. The savings in delta V afforded by ORCA will also allow for the planning of more sample return missions. Sample returns are also important to the second batch of potential customers, startup businesses hoping to conduct asteroid surveys for future mining. In a report from the International Space University in the UK, an economic feasibility assessment for asteroid mining with small spacecraft concluded that swarms of small miners would be the most cost-effective way of returning materials to Earth over time. ORCA offers perhaps the best method to deploy these swarms, much like the proliferation of research probes. If asteroid mining proves to be lucrative, the potential customer base for ORCA is virtually limitless. In assessing the serviceable available market, I yet again resorted to the more stable funding and initial payload potential from government research. At least in the early R&D and operational employment of ORCA, this is realistically the only available market. Utilizing Porter's 5 forces methodology, I ultimately deemed the attractiveness of ORCA to currently be moderate or perhaps slightly elevated. I landed on this assessment due to having 2 positive points, green, 2 neutral points, amber, and only 1 negative point in red. The high startup cost for this in-space capability reduces the likelihood of new entrants and helps ensure ORCA's supplier bargaining power remains high. With governments being the initial buyers, there will likely be a medium volume of payloads to begin with, and established rivalry with conventional rockets, albeit at a higher cost, cannot be ignored. These also add to the threat of substitution if certain mission parameters cannot be met by ORCA due to the sensitivity of certain payloads. However, if we factor in the aforementioned potential for asteroid mining endeavors, the number of buyers goes up, which ultimately tips their bargaining power in our favor, overall increasing the positives in this assessment, leading to a more attractive prospect for ORCA.